My name's Jeremy Bullington with Greenway Equipment. Today I'm going to tell you about installing iGrade. Today we're going to start up in the cab with the controller. This is our application controller 1100. This is where our iGrade activation lives. This also allows it to move it from machine to machine. First thing I'm going to show you is what the individual leads on the harness actually do. So let's start right here. We're going to set the controller down on the floor and we're going to pull up. The first two that we're going to look is this is how we make our CAN connection to the actual machine. You're going to see it's two 4-pin Deutsch connectors. We're actually going to make that connection in the cab using an adapter. So this adapter is available through John Deere Parts. We simply plug both connectors in, which converts it to a 9-pin ISO. That 9-pin ISO actually lives right over on the console. So we're actually going to take it, get the pins lined up, and twist it locks. So now that will actually put the controller onto the CAN, which will allow it to pull into our 4600 command center. So our next connection we're going to look at, and back up to the controller from the next end. What we're going to look at is going to be our connection to get us into terracotta. So we look at our controller harness, looking for our third-party adapter. So from our third-party adapter harness, we'll plug in here. Once we make our connection, you should hear it click. Once we're there and we've got good connection, we're going to look at our next connector. Next, we're going to fire up our power. This is a 3-pin triangle Deutsch. So from the back of the machine, we're going to have a constant power harness. We're going to make our connection with our constant power and our controller here. So from that constant power harness, it's going to plug into our 3-pin, which is our constant power in the cab. Also right over here by the window. We screw that in. So now we've got the controller not only on the CAN, but now it has power. So once we have it powered, the next thing we're going to do is make our connection with the SCV controller. So we have a harness that's running back behind the tractor, behind the SMV side. The harness coming up at it looks as so, and it mates right here on the iGrade controller. We simply line the pins up, twist them, and now they're locked. So once we've made all our connections, you're going to see our connection to SCV, our connection to power. This will be used for our threshold calibration tool later. So we're going to cap it off so it doesn't get dust in it. And we've got our connection go to our third-party controller and our terracotta. So now, what we've decided to do here today for modularity, we actually take the controller, we take the harness, and we simply make a couple of loops with them because it's quite a bit of harness. We take that harness and we actually put it right down behind the seat. Now, our reasoning for putting the controller behind the seat is because it adds modularity. Many times customers will want to install iGrade on multiple machines. What we'll do, we install the controller right here, make sure that all of our wires are free of being routed around the seat so that we're not cutting anything as the seat's moving around. The only wire that we need to make sure we can get back up to the console is our wire that's going to go to our Surface Pro. So one of the things I do on the command center is just simply make a loop so that we know we've got plenty of wire. We're going to mount our Surface Pro right here, and that'll be our only connection that's visible. So up front, we're going to see our wires to go into power and our wires going to CAN. Everything else will live right behind the seat. So the next thing we're going to do is send our excess wire through the rear. We're going to do that using our rubber adapter here. So the wires that are important that we're sending to the rear of the machine, one will be our power, that you're going to see that on our ISO connector when we get to the rear of the machine. So we're going to send power back to it, and we're going to see our wire that goes to our SCV feature adapter. And that's everything up in the cab. All right, so right now I'm actually going to show you where you make your connection with the SCV controller. So the harness that we sent out of the back window, we've got it right here. So now we have come down behind the green plate right here, and we're looking for our SCV feature adapter. So it's going to be located right here, right underneath the slow moving vehicle sign. One of the things that we're going to see is most of the time it's capped off when these machines are new from the factory. So you just simply pull the cap off and put on. Now, this scraper tractor is actually configured with auto load. So the auto load actually is right here. One thing you're going to notice is with auto load and iGrade, they use the exact same feature adapter to get into the SCV. So you have to make sure you unplug auto load so that you can plug iGrade in. They will not work together. All right, so now we're going to look at our ISO connection. So we're actually making our ISO connection here at the rear of the machine, just as we would with an air seeder or with a planter. So we take our ISO connector out, simply import it here, and make sure that it seats properly. Once we get it seated, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure we got our electrical connection here. This is the electrical connector that we sent from underneath the window up front and sending it back here. So we make our 3-pin power connection here. This is actually coming from our constant power harness that we had made up in the cab. Now we're going to trace this ISO harness down the hydraulic lines. Notice this harness has not been installed underneath the shields. We want to make sure that you're able to see where they would run, but let me show you how it would run. So we would come down underneath the hydraulic hoses, go under the tongue shields, take these shields off all the way around the corner, make our corner here. Wire would continue, would come out, come down this shield, right here. What we've been doing is bringing our harness out here. What you're going to notice is there's a potted junction. This potted junction does have room to live under the shield. So from that potted junction, we've got a line that comes up here, that goes up to the top of the laser rack, that goes up to our Starfire 6000, which just allows us to run iGrade and tear cut on the front pan when we're running automatic. So from this potted junction, we continue on. We always make sure that when we're running our wires, we follow the lengths of hydraulic hoses to make sure we don't run out of wire and we have plenty of stretch. We follow the carriage back. We take up any extra slack right here. We follow down, and now we're back to another ISO connection. What this ISO connection allows us to do is break the scrapers to run them singly, run this rear pan single or run the front pan single. We have one connection and our connection to power. So we take our next ISO connection, run it down the hydraulic lines, down the tongue, again, back underneath the tongue shields, around the corner. One thing that's different on this harness, it does not have a potted junction. So many times we just bring our harness out here at the corner, get on the laser rack, come across the top to our Starfire receiver.